And I'm Paul.
And we're in the Waipahu Culinary Arts Program, and we're in specifically Marauder Cafe.
So today we're going to be making a recipe under the ʻuala cooperative using their taro, their pumpkin, and their sweet potato products.
Cook along with us while we make a vegetarian poke that is vegan and gluten-free friendly.
So then the main ingredients that you want for the poke is about 1 cup cooked purple sweet potato, 1 cup cooked kabocha, and 1 cup cooked kalo. Additionally, you kind of want 1 cup of tofu with that as well. 1/2 cup green onions, 1 cup of thinly sliced round onions, 1/4 cup edamame beans that are already shelled, 1/4 cup ogo, and 1 teaspoon of sesame seeds, and of course salt and pepper to taste.
And then for our poke sauce, we ended up using red Hawaiian chili, Korean chili flakes, minced garlic, gluten-free soy sauce, which helps contribute to making our dish gluten-free friendly. And then we also use gluten-free mushroom sauce and sesame oil.
So starting off, we're gonna be prepping the vegetables. So essentially, all of the vegetables that are using today are going to be a medium dice or about a 1/2 inch cube. And this is just to ensure that everything cooks properly in the pan when we're frying it. So something along the lines of about 1.5 inch cubes. And we're going to make about a cup of each of the vegetables that were provided to us along with tofu. And so most of these products are already pre-cooked. They come in pre-cooked and frozen. So say that you may be wanting to buy these products fresh from like local vendors. You would have to cook these in advance just because, taro, you could possibly get kind of ill from it, eating it undercooked. So it is very essential that if you do buy these fresh, that you prepare these in advance. And of course, while you're doing the prep for the vegetables, you'd want to get like a wok or something or pan that has like a large surface area so that you could fry up the vegetables a lot more easier. They'll get a better kind of more crispy and toasted more better. Okay, so we're gonna start off by frying off the sweet potato, and Jessica, I'll just have you do this part. So you want to make sure that the oil is really hot so that you could get a crisp texture to the vegetables. And when you're frying them, you want to move them as little as possible. The only reason is because that it's quite fragile while it's cooking, so you want to avoid breaking the products, and you just want to let it sit there to get a nice good crust. So when it comes to preparing these vegetables, you don't really need to be perfect with them as long as you're consistent with your cuts and they're all the same size pretty much. So yeah, like I said, these products do come in frozen. So you'd maybe want to let these defrost for a little bit for about, I'd say, half an hour to an hour at room temp, or maybe overnight in the fridge before actually, making this. So yeah, so when you're frying these vegetables, you want to do it separately for each vegetable, and you don't want to overcrowd your pan a bit. You don't want to overcrowd. It's just going to get soggy. So if you do have to, you should fry in batches. So when you're preparing the kabocha, you want to make sure that you take off the skin beforehand because it could be a bit rough when you're eating it, and yeah, it's just way better to remove the skin before frying it up. And again, you do want to kind of cut close to the skin and get off as much as possible. So after about maybe 2 to 3 minutes, or once you start to notice that your vegetables are getting a golden brown and crispy, that is when you can kind of start moving it around just so it can actually get evenly browned on all sides. Yeah, it might be a bit tough trying to cut up maybe some brown pieces, but just try your best. You don't have to be too perfect with it. So yeah, so we have here our tofu that's already been drained of water, and you want to make sure that these are drained really well, because if you do throw it into the hot oil when it's still wet, it'll start to splash a lot. So just for safety, make sure that it is well drained beforehand. So once you start to notice that it gets nice and crispy, you want to take your spider, kind of drain out as much oil as you can, and place it onto maybe a sheet pan, or a sheet pan lined with paper towel. And then again, it's the same process for all the other vegetables. So kind of a safe way to do it is kind of put it onto the spider first, as much as you want, and kind of drop it in safely into the oil.
Okay, so while the pumpkin is frying, we're gonna start making our homemade poke sauce. But some easy alternatives, if you don't want to gather all of the ingredients, would be Yoitaku's waffle dressing, and then our ohana flavored shoyu poke sauce. Okay, and so within our poke sauce, what we're gonna start doing is combining all of our solid ingredients into a bowl. So here I have some minced garlic, and then we're just gonna add it into the bowl, and then some Korean chili flakes, and then it kind of depends how much you want to add. It's all like subjective to spice tolerance, I'd say. And then here we have red Hawaiian chili. It's not that much because the chili itself is pretty small. Okay, and then we're going to start adding all of our wet ingredients, which would be our gluten-free mushroom sauce. Our gluten-free soy sauce. And then our sesame oil. Okay? And then that's how easy it is. And then you start whisking it all together. You start combining it all evenly. And then something that we're always taught to do, as in our culinary class, is to taste everything. And so if your sauce is a bit too salty for your preference, I suggest our Big Islandese honey. And so I would put in about a teaspoon's worth of honey into the sauce. And then start whisking it until it's fully combined. At the moment, I wouldn't think about putting more salt due to trying to level out all of the saltiness of it. And it's always important to remember that cooking is pretty much an experiment. You aren't always gonna get everything on the first try. So it's like, just keep on going until you have something that you're happy with.
And actually, you may want to be considering straining the oil after maybe cooking each ingredient, just so that you have a fresh batch of oil each time that you fry each ingredient. And get off all that debris. Add back in the oil, and if you do need a bit more oil, you should have some extra on the side. A little bit more. And yeah, you want to repeat this process for each of the ingredients. So now that the taro root is done, we start adding in the tofu. And yeah, again, making sure that the tofu is well drained beforehand. Don't want a lot of splashing to happen, and yeah, it just sucks to get oil burns.
Okay, ensuring that all of your fried items have been cooled to a reasonable temperature. I'd say like about room temperature. You can start adding everything into a bowl and mixing them together. And then with moving all of the items into another bowl, you have room for the tofu to cool down. Okay, so then we have green onion. We have red onion. And it's sliced pretty thin. And then limu. Yeah, thanks. And then we're also adding edamame into this, or soybean. Oops, can you move the... And then you can start just tossing everything together as you would like a salad. And then you want to get it to a point where it's like everything is evenly distributed through the entire mixture.
And it's especially tough to kind of mix this because the edamame beans kind of like, since they're small, they kind of clump together towards the bottom. So yeah, you just want to make sure everything is nicely incorporated together.
Okay, so now we're frying the tofu, so it adds on like a little bit of a golden brown color. And then all of the tofu is pretty much reaching this point. So then right after, we're gonna take it out of the oil and then strain it. Okay, and then we're gonna run it through a strainer. Separate all of the tofu cubes and the oil. It's too hard. Can you pass me around? And then give it a bit of a tap, and then towel for a bit so then it dries.
Yeah, you can kind of just roll this around a paper towel too, just so you make sure that you actually get off as much oil as you can. Okay, now that that's done, we're going to mix it into the bowl with the rest of the ingredients.
And then you want to make sure that you're folding over so then everything gets mixed well all throughout.
Right, and you also kind of want to be gentle. You don't want to break up the pieces after taking such a long time to fry. But yeah, just kind of be gentle with it and make sure everything is well incorporated though.
So when it comes to this even mixture, it's pretty much time to add the sauce. So first you want to start off with about half the amount so then you don't,
Oh, sorry.
thank you. So then you don't end up over seasoning your vegetarian poke. And then after you add the sauce, you want to toss around your mixture until everything is well coated. Okay, and then it's important to taste your vegetarian poke at this point to make sure if you want to add more sauce and to adjust to your liking.
With a little bit more.
A bit more?
Yeah,
Okay.
about half of that one. Okay, that's good. And of course, after making adjustments, you do want to continuously want to taste until you get the product that you actually really want. So now that we've come to the desired taste that we want, we're not going to plate it, but especially since you may be making this dish for other people, it is important to wear gloves when you are plating because you don't want to touch already cooked food with your hands, especially after cooking. So just for everybody's health and safety, wear gloves. And this plate is actually has tea leaves already on it. And it's really up to you how you want to plate it, but for the orientation right now, we kind of just want to center it all in the middle of the plate. Make sure you get a good amount. And you want to kind of create a nice mound to make sure that the dish stands out.
Like a dome shape?
Yeah, like a dome shape. I think that should be enough. Take a rag, kind of wipe down the sides a little bit. And there you have it, vegetarian poke.